There may be nothing that frustrates an early childhood professional or young children more than transitions from one area of the room or from one activity to another. But transitions don't have to be frustrating. They can, in fact, be both peaceful and productive. And you might not believe me when I say this, but they can also be fun. I believe the most important tip I can give you to help make your transitions terrific is to put yourself in the children's shoes. The late great Bev Boss used to talk about childhood amnesia, which referred to the fact that adults fail to remember what it was like to be a child. But as an early childhood teacher, you have an advantage. You went into the field because you love young children and you get to observe them all day long. Those two factors mean that you understand them better than the average adult. So let's think about what young children are good at. They are good at being joyful. They are good at being imaginative. Why not use their strengths to make transitions terrific and to make them part of the children's learning experiences? For example, why announce that it's snack time and then require that the children line up and walk quietly to their tables? That's boring. But if you connect this transition to something food related, you'll be connecting it to the content area of science. And if you ask them to pretend, you'll be tapping into their strengths. So you might invite them to move to their tables as though they were soup sloshing in a bowl, a fizzy drink, the odor of food floating through the air, boiling water, moving through peanut butter or marshmallow fluff, jello wiggling. You know they would love this. And because both their bodies and minds will be fully engaged, the transition will be peaceful and productive. Now, let's think about what children are not yet good at. In other words, what they're not yet developmentally ready to do. One thing is waiting. So, my two tips here are plan your transitions. This doesn't mean you have to create lesson plans for them, but part of the chaos comes from the fact that we don't plan for them. We can't behave as though we didn't know they were coming, but we often do because of the false belief that transitions are just something that happens between the learning experiences. If you plan them as you plan other parts of your day, you'll find transitions not just more tolerable, but actually pleasant. And aligned with planning transitions, you should make necessary preparations in advance. If children are transitioning to lunch, for example, they shouldn't have to sit at the table waiting. The meal should be ready for them. If a transition involves a prop or finger play, have it ready beforehand. You actually want to have a collection of finger plays, piggyback songs, and activities on hand for each kind of transition. They can be on index cards, in a notebook, whatever works for you. But if you don't have to search your brain for something to do at each transition time, that means a lot less waiting for the children and therefore a lot less disruption. Finally, two other things young children aren't good at are being in a line and being quiet. So, if that's what you're asking the children to do for transitions, you're setting up both yourself and the children for failure. Once again, it goes back to putting yourself in the child's shoes. So, if you need the children to be in a line, why not play a game of follow the leader with you at the head of the line, tiptoeing in an exaggerated manner? Why not ask the children to imagine they're circus acrobats walking a tightrope? Both of these activities will require so much concentration on the children's part and are so much fun that they won't need to wreak havoc. Similarly, if you need the children to be quiet, and I think this only applies when there's the possibility of disturbing another class, give them a reason to be quiet. Invite them to transition as though they were walking on eggs and don't want to break them. A weightless astronaut, a whisper, a giraffe, clouds floating. All of these examples compel the children to imagine and connect to the curriculum. Walking on eggs and don't want to break them. You use the word lightly and you're connecting to emergent literacy. Light is also a quantitative concept linking to math. A weightless astronaut. The word weightless also involves word comprehension, and any discussion about an astronaut's profession connects to both science and social studies. A whisper connects to emergent literacy because it is one of the four ways in which we use our voices, the others being speaking, shouting, and singing. A giraffe, of course, is an animal and therefore related to science. And clouds floating relates to weather, which is yet another aspect of science. View transitions through the eyes of a child, something you're well qualified to do, and you can't help but have terrific transitions. But if you'd like to know more and to have additional activities, I've created an online course called Make Transitions Trouble-Free and Teachable. You can check it out here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll like the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, never stop moving and learning.